Welcome everybody to Train Tuesday. So glad that you found us. For us colonials, happy Independence Day, no matter where you are, whether you're in the States or serving abroad. It is Independence Day here in the United States, and this is a special pre-recorded broadcast. Hopefully you are keeping it safe while you're out there celebrating the holiday. We're not going to have shout outs because this, again, is a pre-recorded Train Tuesday. Now, keep in mind, we're going to do this throughout the summer since I and some other Athearn folks are going to be on the road. So you can rest assured that every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, Train Tuesday is going to slide right into the YouTube channel. So while you're at it, go to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you know every time a new Train Tuesday or another video comes into the YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about Athearn Genesis EMD SD70 Aces as well as SD70 M-2s. So without further ado, let's get started on another Train Tuesday filled with train goodness. So we're going to start talking about the SD70 Aces as well as the M-2s. A little background on this locomotive. To meet stricter diesel locomotive emission standards imposed by EPA Tier 2 regulations, EMD modified the SD70 MAC to create the SD70 ACE and SD70 M-2. Each model is powered by a 16-cylinder, 4,300 horsepower diesel engine. Now on the SD70 M-2, the prime mover drives an alternator and produces AC current that is rectified to DC current, which powers the traction motors. However, on the SD70 ACE, the DC current is then chopped back into the AC to power the traction motors. Much of the external design is based on the SD90 series of locomotives. Similar features include the full-height nose door, rectangular windshields, the large flared radiators with 2 fans, and the positioning of the dynamic brake equipment at the rear of the long hood. In addition, the inverters were removed from inside the long hood to a box on the walkway behind the fireman's side of the cab. Now, what you see here, this is the Norfolk Southern CNJ Heritage Unit 1071. This was from a previous release. We've done some updates on the SD70 Aces and M-2s, and we wanted to re-release these Heritage units with these new features. Now, of course, those features are mainly lighting features. You're going to have illuminated number boards as well as truck lights, and you're also going to have metal etched stair steps on the locomotives as well. So let's talk about what we're going to offer in this run. Now, everything that I'm going to show you here tonight, this is available for pre-order until Friday, July 28th. And you're going to want to talk to your dealer to get those orders in. So let's start with the first round. And that is the Union Pacific. We're offering 4 different road numbers with the Union Pacific. In July of 2022, Union Pacific debuted their new locomotive paint schemes. There are several variations, but they all feature the Union Pacific shield on the nose, however, minus the wings. The Union Pacific lettering in red returns to the flanks of the locomotives, and a smaller version of the American flag adorns the nose corners. Now, the Athearn crew's offering several versions of these paint schemes, which have been spotted roaming the rails recently. Trust me, you're going to see some pictures in the coming weeks. Janet Bringle, our product developer and lead researcher, he's been able to get these in his recent rail fanning adventures. So be sure to check those out. Just another sign that, we're modelers here as well. And Janet is a hardcore rail fan. So here we've got 8478 and 8518. You can see there's a few differences, subtle differences in the mainly the flag. If you can look at the flags on the nose, you've kind of got a more standardized one on the bottom, and then you've kind of got a one that's very similar to the ones they used to put on the flanks of the locomotive. You'll also notice that UP shield is still on the nose. However, the wings are now gone. 8522 and 8588 are also going to make up the announcements for this run. So you're going to have 4 in total of these locomotives. Now, the features of these locomotives, these are early production units that were originally built in 2005 to 2006. They're all going to include PTC antennas. They're going to have modernized inverter cabinets. These will only have front ditch lights. Keep that in mind. Front ditch lights only, and these, of course, are recent repaints. A lot of them were repainted in about July of 2022. Now, a lot of guys were asking for the UP paint in this paint scheme. A lot of you guys have been asking for Yellow Sill era UP, so here you are. You've got 4 locomotives to either choose from or add to your fleet. Now, here is one, again, we got a lot of requests for on the Athearn product suggestion email. Norfolk Southern unveiled a group of 20 locomotives painted to honor their predecessor railroads back in 2012. It's interesting to note that in the late 2010s, the units had their roof configurations modified to accept positive train control antennas. Both roof styles are included with these Norfolk Southern releases. Now, the first one we have here is number 1030. This is Norfolk Southern's 30th anniversary locomotive. We've also reintroduced the Savannah and Atlanta, as well as the Erie 1068. Now, these are appropriate for 2012 until current day. They are still using these. And Jersey Central Lines makes up part of that release, as well as the Penn Central. And again, these are both appropriate for 2012 on up. These heritage units that we've selected for this round were highly suggested, highly sought after by many of our Athearn fans. Now, the features on this group of locomotives, they're going to have a swappable alternate roof with the leader PTC antenna array. Now, this PTC antenna array is actually going to be available separately. You can order this part number ATHG 68899 for that separate piece. Again, the part number for the PTC antenna array is ATHG 68899. They're also going to include the high-mounted headlight, which was standard, isolated cab, front and rear illuminated ditch lights, and the late handrails. A lot of questions you guys have been asking. Will these have the alternating ditch lights when the horn is depressed? Yes, since these are Genesis locomotives, they're going to follow the prototype exactly, including not just the way they look and what features they have, but what type of programming has already been installed in the factory. Now, that's true with the Tsunami 2 versions. If you purchase the Tsunami 2 decoder-equipped locomotives, that function's already wired into it. You don't need to do anything. It's ready to go. You press the horn, the ditch lights will alternate just like the prototype. The next set that we're going to do is going to be one of those polarizing railroads. This is a legendary liveries. No, the Southern Pacific never had these locomotives. However, as you will see, we've had a lot of requests for these. As most railroad historians and enthusiasts know, the Southern Pacific Transportation Company was taken over by Union Pacific in 1996, and almost all of the former SP Red and Scarlet locomotives have now been repainted for their new owner. But what if this SP had endured and survived through the tumultuous 1990s? What locomotive purchases would they have made? Now, due to the numerous customer requests, we're proud to offer our take on what a mid-2000s Southern Pacific order might have looked like. Enjoy running these units on your model railroad, recreating in miniature what might have been. We're offering 2 different road numbers on these units. Here you can see we have SP 814 and 890. And again, these are based on the last paint scheme locomotives that the SP ordered before the takeover of the UP. Now, the features on these locomotives, these are going to be early production details. So that means they're going to have non-insulated cabs. They're going to have high headlights and as-built inverter cabinets. They're also going to have the octagonal antenna domes. And the paint scheme is based on an earlier SD70M that SP actually did order. Another one that a lot of requests had been coming for was the Progress Rail. And we're offering 2 road numbers for Progress Rail. Due to surplus production line capacity, Progress Rail outshopped several locomotives in the early 2020s. Some sources indicate that these units were to be part of a Norfolk Southern order. The two units on offer here are known as Tier 4 credit SD70 Aces and are produced using banked credits that are obtained from the production of Tier 4 emission compliant units. So here you have unit number 2115 and 2121. These are based on 2020 on up paint schemes, and their features will include late production units with an isolated cab, and they're going to have PTC antennas. They're also going to have the large inverter cabinet grills, and both the front and ditch lights are on there. They'll be illuminated, of course, and since these are probably were destined to go to Norfolk Southern, you can probably guess these are going to have alternating ditch lights as well. One that we had many requests for was the Susquehanna, or simply known as the Susie Q. In late 2020, a group of four former Norfolk Southern SD70M-2 locomotives arrived on the property of New York, Susquehanna, and Western Railway. The units were initially pressed into service wearing the standard black Norfolk Southern paint with a small patch on the cab. However, in 2023, the units were painted in the Susquehanna's attractive yellow and black livery. These were based on the same scheme that had been applied to previous B40-8s. So here we've got 4062 and 4066, relatively new paint schemes. These came out in 2023. So these are brand new paint schemes. And the cool thing about these locomotives, a lot of you guys that model modern era or contemporary era are now starting to see some of the smaller lines in the United States and Canada pick up these once Class 1 only locomotives. Here's your opportunity to get a relatively modern locomotive for a short line such as the Susquehanna. Now, these are former Norfolk Southern units, so they're going to have front and rear ditch lights, and PTC antennas will be included in this run. Another one that caught a lot of you guys by surprise, the Providence and Worcester Railroad. The Providence and Worcester's two units were originally painted orange and brown in their corporate scheme, and they ran for several years in this paint scheme. It was, however, in 2021, they were repainted into the orange and black scheme of their parent company, Genesee and Wyoming. We wanted to offer these because, again, we got a lot of requests for these. Here we've got Providence and Worcester 4301 and 4302. And again, these are based on 2021 on up paint scheme. So again, you can have a relatively small short line using a relatively modern locomotive. Now the features on these are actually former Florida East Coast locomotives. They've been repainted into the orange and black Genesee and Wyoming corporate colors. And the horns are mounted on the side of the long hood, separate horn styles for each road number. So since these are Genesis, they're going to have some subtle differences, and it's all based on the prototype. One that I know surprised everybody based on the comments that I'm seeing on Facebook and Instagram is the New Brunswick Southern Railway. The New Brunswick Southern Railway is a Canadian short line which, combined with its sister company, Eastern Maine Railway, connects St. John, New Brunswick, and Brownville Junction, Maine. A sister company, Maine Northern Railway, operates a separate 258-mile line. In 2021, a group of 6 former Norfolk Southern SD70M-2 locomotives arrived on the property. Painted in the gorgeous green and yellow, each corporate road's name is on the 2 locomotives, and all are owned by New Brunswick Southern. So there's some subtle changes here. You can see here in the artwork that we supplied. Here we've got 2 NB Southerns as well as an Eastern Maine. Now these are road numbers 6401, 6402, and 6403 respectively. We've also are offering road number 6405, 4, 5, and 6, and you can see those guys here. Here we've got an Eastern Maine, we've got a Maine Northern, and another Maine Northern. Corporate paint schemes, slight differences in the names of the railroad, but again, these are ones that a lot of you guys have been asking for, and probably, quite frankly, a lot of you guys probably didn't think we were going to do it, but we do listen to you guys, and this was one that we heard from quite a few people, and we figured it was time to actually offer these for you. Now, these are former Norfolk Southern units. They're going to have front and rear ditch lights, and they're going to also have PTC antennas. Now, pricing on these, this is full MSRP, so contact your dealer for your price. If you go for the DCC ready versions, they're $259.99. If you go for the version that comes decoder and sound equipped with the Tsunami 2 by Soundtracks, they're going to be $359.99, and really a bargain when you consider everything that the Soundtracks decoders could do for these locomotives. So there you have it. Like I said, you've got the last Friday of the month to place your pre-orders on these locomotives. So do it now. They're going to go quick when they actually come into stock. There's a lot of great stuff we've had in here, a lot of great feedback from you that we've seen on our social media feed. So thank you. And for those that went ahead and used our product suggestion email, which is Athearn-productsuggestions@athearn.com, thank you. Thank you for sending those in. That makes our job easier, and it helps you fill your roster with locomotives that you are looking for. One more thing, this week, in fact, this Thursday, you're going to be able to catch myself and Mark Williams. We're going to hit the road. We're going on something what we call Athearn on the Main Line. Now, Athearn on the Main Line is where any Athearn employee may show up at a hobby shop, maybe a club event, something of that nature. We've already got our calendar booked for this year, but we will be looking at considerations for 2024. And it's mainly in the summertime. Why? Well, it gives us an excuse to maybe get some rail fanning in, but it also gives us an excuse to visit you and talk to you about your Athearn projects that you're working on. Now, the first place you're going to see us is Midwest Model. July 6th, we're going to be at Midwest Model starting at 3 o'clock. We're going to have a meet and greet. And oh yeah, there's one more thing I want to let you guys know. How many like stickers? We're offering special stickers for the first 25 guys that show up to Midwest Model to let you know you've been there. We know how popular stickers are. So Midwest Model, July 6th, 3 o'clock, you can see myself and Mark Williams, both of Athearn. We're also going to have Tony Cook there. We're also going to do a special live feed from the store. And who knows what other things I'm going to dream up. There may even be a contest or a raffle involved. We'll see what happens. After that, we're going to be going up the road a little bit to Deschler, Nebraska. And we're going to be going to Spring Creek. That is July 8th and 9th. That is their biannual train show. And that's going to be a great time. We're going to be doing some fun things there as well at Spring Creek. And yeah, you guessed it. We're going to have special stickers. So you can tell your friends and buddies that you got to go to Spring Creek and saw Mark and I at the Athearn booth. 25 of these have been made. These are special stickers. We only made 25, so the first 25 people are going to be able to get those and put those on their workshop bench, their toolbox, whatever. Put it on your car. Do whatever you want with them. So that's, again, July 8th and 9th. This is going to be a great show. There's going to be Athearn's going to be there. Of course, there's going to be some other fine manufacturers there as well. George from Soundtracks is going to be there, and he's going to be putting on some clinics. So check that out. If you want to learn more about the Soundtracks decoders and the Tsunami 2, check out George's clinics. They're going on all weekend, really. It's going to be a good time. I can tell you my wallet's not safe seeing both of these places in person. Now, later in the summer, I'll be going to some other shows as well. Friday the 28th and Saturday the 29th, I'm going to be in Collinsville, Illinois, to the St. Louis RPM meet. Now, the St. Louis RPM meet is one of the biggest RPM meets in the country. Certainly, some of the best modelers come to this event. If you would like to see some great prototype modeling, by all means, stop and look at this show. It's a great show, great location. Everything is conveniently located in the same general area. And there's some great clinics going on as well. And by the way, stop by, come see me. We'll talk, and I'll probably have my own personal little switching layout there to play with, of course, with my proto throttle. And then later in August, Friday the 25th through Sunday the 27th, we're going to be at the National Train Show, part of the Texas Express for 2023. Now, this is one of the big shows. This is the national show, And you can bet Athearn's going to have an announcement. We're going to have something going on. This is the show that we usually let something out of the bag. And we certainly hope to see you at any of these events. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have a great summer this year. Lots of stuff that we still haven't even talked about that you're going to see throughout the summer. Again, you have until Friday the 28th to place your pre-orders on the SD70 Aces as well as the SD70 M-2s. Next week, we're going to be talking switchers. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. If you like this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up and like and subscribe. And again, hit that notification bell because these are pre-recorded. We're not doing the chat until probably the fall. So you're going to want to know when these are coming in. And we're going to be keeping you informed with all kinds of news of what's going on in Athearn. So until next time, everyone, I want everybody out there celebrate safely and responsibly, be happy, be healthy, do some good modeling. I hope to see you on the main line. Until next time, everyone, high greens. Goodbye.